At 20, we have Bleu De Chanel EDT. This is a fresh fragrance, but it's strong enough to last well in the colder weather also. So this is a combination of mint, grapefruit, and incense. A total classic, works all year round, including in the colder weather. At 19, we have Davidoff's Cool Water Intense. So this is nothing like the original Cool Water. This is closer to an Invictus-like fragrance, very synthetic smelling, very kind of fruity. There's a coconut note in here. Definitely a big attention grabber, cuts through the cold air really well. At 18, we have Original Santal by Creed. Very versatile. If you liked Homme back in the day and want something that's higher quality, you could check this one out. It is primarily a sandalwood fragrance. However, you have other things going on in here, such as juniper berries and vanilla. Very nice, high quality smelling, great all year round scent. At 17, we're going with Terre Mess. I have the Parfum in front of me, but any Terre Mess could fit this list. If you like Creed Viking cologne, but are frustrated with the performance or the price point, and want something that beats it on both of those categories, you can check out Terre Mess. A nice orange vetiver timeless scent. At 16, we have Tom Ford's Jasmin Rouge. Very unisex, just a classy, sophisticated scent that works all year round. Certainly can work well in the colder weather as well as the warm weather. At 15, we have Halloween Man X. Has a degree of freshness to it, think like Versace Eros. This has the additions of a coffee bean note. A very loud, brash, quite youthful smelling fragrance. Definitely works all year round. At 14, we have Perseus by Parfums Stamali, one of my personal all-time favourites and possibly my current favourite fragrance all round at the moment. I placed it quite low on this list because performance isn't outstanding. However, performance is pretty good for a fresh fragrance. So for me, it packs enough of a punch to work in the colder weather. Primarily, this is a warm weather scent, but it does warrant its place on this list because for a fresh fragrance, it performs quite well. At 13, we have Kilian's Apple Brandy. This is a good performer, very, very fresh. If you want a fresh take on apple, say you're a fan of like YSLY, for example, and you like that apple note and you want more of a kind of boozy feel, like captures that apple brandy on the rocks type of a feel, check this one out. One of the best from their liqueur range in my opinion. I put this up there with Angel Share for sure. At 12, we're going with Office for Men by Fragrance One, of course Jeremy Fragrance. So I reviewed this recently and did recommend to get Explorer instead by Mont Blanc, as it smells very, very similar and that's a much cheaper price. However, this performs quite well, I will say. I'd say slightly better than Explorer, having tested it a bit more recently. So for performance, it does earn some points, and also for being versatile. I still don't think it's worth the price point, and I think it is a tad generic, but I can't fault it for its versatility and also its performance. At 11, we have Armani's Acqua Di Gio Parfum, similar to Profumo, but without such an incense note. This is a great all year round scent. Some might even say it's better for the colder weather than the warmer weather, as it has some depth and heaviness to it. It's not an out and out citrus fresh fragrance like the original Acqua Di Gio. So I think this is ideal for the colder weather and definitely deserves its place on this list. At 10, we have one I talk about a lot, Spicebomb Metallic Musk by Viktor & Rolf. So they discontinued Spicebomb Fresh a long time ago. I think that was initially the fresh take on Spicebomb. This fits that bill as well, as with that blast of musk you get a nice freshness that makes this wearable all year round, but it has a heaviness to it and it packs enough of a punch to definitely work well in the colder months. In 9th spot, we're going with the classic Dylan Blue by Versace, that great Swiss Army knife fragrance that you can just pick up anytime, anywhere and know it's going to work. It is fresh, but it also has some darkness and heaviness to it. At 8, we're going with Absolu Aventus, the darkest version of Aventus, the most dense. You get additions of things like cardamom and ginger in here, as well as nutmeg, giving it a more wintry vibe. It opens like the original Aventus, like you get the pineapple, for example, goes in a different direction in the dry down. Some have compared it to Dior Sauvage Elixir. There is a slight vibe of that. I did pick that up initially when I tried Absolu Aventus. although I have kind of gone away from thinking there are many similarities. It is quite different, but regardless, it's definitely the best Aventus in terms of for the colder days. At 7 we have the sadly discontinued Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Intense. Packs way more of a punch than the original light blue. I certainly wouldn't recommend the original light blue for this list. However, the EDP here in front of me I would recommend. A nice grapefruit musky smell. Lasts a long time. I find the dry down goes on and on and on, and the dry down is the best part of this as well when that musk comes out. Yeah, a heavy fragrance. For me, it's not an out and out summer one at all. It's so heavy that you can easily wear this all year round, and for that reason I think it's great for the colder days also. At 6 we have Dior Sauvage EDT. That heavy fresh blast of ambroxan definitely works well in the colder weather as well as the warmer weather. At 5 we're going with French Riviera by Mancera. A big blast of citrus and fruits in the opening, and it dries down into a nice sea salty smell. Smells like a day on the beach, so it is kind of more geared to the summer, but it's so heavy and powerful with a really strong attention grabbing opening that I think that this works all year round. Definitely one of the best Manceras. At 4 we have one that I really like, Ingenious Ginger by Goldfield and Banks. Think of a combination of lemon, ginger and vanilla and you have this summed up pretty well. It has a really bright freshness at the beginning and it dries down into more of that heavy vanilla. It really does strike the balance between a fresh and a sweet scent very well. Smells high quality. I think there are a lot of naturals in here. And yeah, excellent for the warmer days, but also works really well in the cooler weather. So you have a fresh, sweet balance struck perfectly well for the colder days. At 3 we're going with Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme by Chanel. Very popular here on YouTube and elsewhere, and for good reason. This is a minty, peppery, citrus, musk fragrance with a nice tonka bean in the dry down. So I would say that this is probably more suited for the colder days than the warmer days even. It certainly does work in the summer, but because of its heaviness, I would say that for the colder weather it works extremely well. I think like autumn, this is fine. Winter days, absolutely fine. This is just a versatile all year round, high quality, mass appealing gem. It's just so good. So for the warmer days, great, and equally for the colder days, this really does well. So if we're talking fresh powerhouses that are going to get noticed in the colder weather, I had to include a Hacivat. Hacivat X is the one that I own. Equally, it could have been the original Hacivat. I've mentioned a few times I prefer the lack of the oak moss in Hacivat X, so that's what's my personal choice. But whichever of the Hacivats you have or want to get, it's a great choice and definitely deserves its place on this list. A really punchy, fruity pineapple opening with a nice woody dry down. Stays around a long time and projects really well. So if you want something that smells fresh, high quality, but that's also going to work for the colder days, then check out Hacivat X. And at number 1 we're going with Amouage Beach Hut Man. So if I want an out and out fresh powerhouse that's going to work in any weather at all, I would go with Beach Hut Man. It's just so strong, so for me it had to really top this list. So the top notes here are mint, galbanum and orange blossom. In the mid notes you get ivy, as well as vetiver and moss. And in the base you get woody notes, myrrh and patchouli. So a green, minty fragrance, unique but also safe enough. I mean, this is pretty mass appealing. It's certainly not like your Dylan Blue or Sauvage. Like, it's got its own character, so it is a try before you buy. But if you like minty fragrances and you want like a minty, hard-hitting powerhouse that's going to last a long time and get noticed, then go for this one. Great in the summer, great in the colder months also. Thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you next time.